So I think with the confidence that he's showing in his gameplay at the moment, I think that's a really tough matchup.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, but nonetheless, these two teams are ready to go. They're going to go into the pistol round here. Astralis up against Tempo Storm. The map is DEK because we're from Australia.
That's how it's called here in Australia. We do see Astralis starting on the CT side. So Carried and Zipnix, Dupree, Device, and Cajun B trying to lock down the bomb sites already. You can see Tempo Storm up against it as the aggression coming out here from the Danish team. They caught one, they get a second there. Carried staying alive for ever so long, an eternity there in the eyes of the Tempo Storm.
How did he get that last frag?
I've got no idea, but they still have to find 2 more to secure this round. As you can see, both Henny and Lucas at the moment, they do have that bomb in hand, and they're using the utility quite wisely here to make that, I guess, wall locking out the CTs from the bomb site, so Lucas is actually going to make his way in. With great effect here, into the side, he's shooting at this plant now in the CTs, they must retake.
That's right, but these smokes are going to fade in just a moment, and, well, if they're going to get that bomb down, it is going to force a 1 versus 1, but look at this improvised stack coming out. Lucas and Henny combining to just try and peer over the smoke, see if they can catch one of the CTs off guard. As you can see, Cajun is quite low, but Device and Dupree are on the lurk. Great positioning here from Dupree.
Yeah, I actually love this play, recognizing that perhaps the CTs might be trying to stop that bomb plant. You can see Tempo Storm in this instance actually double stacking, trying to make sure that they were locking down that site before they opted to try and secure that plant. It was a risk. Perhaps if it had backfired, they might not have got that money bonus, but you can see in any case with the CTs holding back quite passively, they will now be able to get that bomb down and have their goal trying to hold it off against 3 CTs. Unfortunately for them, though, they're both trapped at the back of the quad box, and you can see the double stack coming out again. Unfortunately, this time it won't have the same effect as Dupree and Device. A lethal combination proved just that as they do grab both of those frags, and Astralis continue in their good form. They haven't lost a map tonight, and they're looking hot.
They are, and it was a really patient play from Astralis. They were content to let Tempo Storm try and make that first move, but in the end, they did get the plan. But more importantly, Astralis got the round, so they are not buying into this at the moment, Tempo Storm. They are just going to eco here, and I like this. I like this. It sets them up well for the rest of the half.
I also like the mindset, though, of Astralis and the Pistol Baron being really aggressive, pushing 2-door, trying to take it instantly to this young Brazilian team, trying to, I guess, put a dent in their confidence. And you can see, perhaps it might do just that. The Brazilians now forced into a situation where they are on a complete eco bar, perhaps 1 or 2 pistols, and maybe even a nade to support their cause. But this is likely going to be going the way of the Danes, but a really conservative approach here from the Danish team with 4 rifles.
Yeah, and more importantly, playing back with a little bit of distance too. They're not necessarily playing in aggressive positions, but as things pan out here, they just shuffle around. And look at these 3 Ts just sitting up the boost. That flash comes out. They simply combust, and Cajun actually goes down. I'm not sure why Device grenaded the vent there, but he's going to be put under pressure here. That Famis does go down, and the pistols of Tempo Storm are ringing out across this map, but Zipnix and Cajun, or Carrigan actually, steady their ship.
Yeah, but off the back of those frags, actually, they've almost convinced the CTs to rotate, and as they try and make their way back to B, Dupree sprints back and just beats them in those last 2 frags and stopping that bomb getting planted, whilst perhaps Tempo Storm were always up against it in terms of winning the round. That's crucial money that Dupree has just stopped Tempo Storm getting in their bank.
That's right, he was able to prevent that plant, so between you, me, and Dupree, some good play there.
I like that. That was a good movie. Owen Wilson. I understood that reference, but no, we can see obviously Tempo Storm have invested into this round off the back of that first round plant. They do have 4 AKs and a Galil in the hands of Bolt. The ex-Luminosity player this time having to make it work with an inferior weapon, actually making their way towards A with some sort of intent there. 3 members, 2, well, I think 1 in the door and perhaps 2 in A main, but it's quite a split approach here with Bomb being left behind, so perhaps just trying to gain that early map control. Carrigan, though, asserting his authority onto Bolts there. Already Astralis getting the advantage.
That's right, and they are just trying to work a pick here at either side, just putting a little bit of pressure on both the extremities of the bomb sites, but not really too much happening here for Tempo Storm just yet. Some patient play coming in from Astralis, as we can see on the overlay there. Phelps actually falls down at A, so that A presence has been eliminated. And more importantly, the 2 B players are separated from the bomb carrier.
Yeah, this is a really troubling sign for me in this round. As you can see, it's almost as though they've lost their impetus. They're not quite sure what they're meant to be doing. They will now backtrack. So Lucas and Showtime are going to try and regroup forces with Henny, the in-game leader of the team, like we said. And at the moment, he's just waiting for those reinforcements to come. But crucially, because they are intent on walking back to him and not giving up their position, it's biting crucially into the time on the clock. We're down to 35 seconds left now. the rotation actually coming in here from Astralis as well. So they're going to have 3 defenders on this site by the time the terrorists get there. And this is really worrying for their chances into the round. You can see whilst Carradine has taken damage, the superior positioning here should set them up well as we now find ourselves with only 20 seconds left at the end. Henny, Showtime, they're very, very reluctant to step in, but certainly they need to if they don't have a chance of getting into the bomb site and winning the round. Showtime there finding Carradine, the man who was quite low, but Zipnik's there. Great positioning. We said that he was important for his team's success. If he was firing in, does get a double there. Can he get the third in this instance? He does get the sights onto him, but somehow he doesn't go down. But Showtime finds himself now with the time expiring. Astralis picking up that first gun round.
Well, that's right. If the time did expire, his money is going to be absolutely in the pits. But
I think he died just before.
Yeah, I think he did just die before looking at the money there. But that, for me, was troubling because Tempo Storm were caught in a situation. They had no utility left in that round late. They had to take the fight to that A site, and they were simply just picked apart. But Carrigan, great positioning up there on the catwalk, just able to hold an off angle and force Tempo Storm to really try and bring the fight to him before they were able to get that plant. And, of course, that, as we said, time very nearly running out. Luckily bailed out by that last-moment frag.
Dupree here, just posted up in checkers. He's not going to see much action this round, though, because I think the T's have backed off. They were at least heading towards that direction at the start of the round, but Device here, Flash, forced to retreat as the T's come funneling out mids through the vents.
That's right, and they're going to try and pressure this B site, but that bomb's still yet to make its way anywhere. They do try and get that frag. Astralis backing off accordingly, not really allowing them any opportunity to get a sneaky frag at all, but just playing the distance and utilising their rifles, some upgraded pistols across the board, but they do have control of mid, but you feel momentarily as though they're going to walk into the killing floor here.
Well, that's right. At least I think they might have suspected that themselves, actually backing away from mid. So it will be B. That will be the target of their affection. Dupree there, getting the drop onto Henny. Gets a second as well, so great job by Dupree. Gets a third. Can he get the fourth? He can. We've already seen one ace from him today. He's looking to make it a second. Unfortunately, this one won't quite be as magical as he has now lagged out. That never makes it easy, I think, when you're trying to team down, but hopefully he regains his form and can get that movement back to find that 5th kill as he does step around and quite fittingly gets it.
And he gets it. Well, I think he got so excited he must have alt-tabbed his PC there. It happens. It happens.
As you do. But
it may have happened to me.
Feasting, though. I mean, great work shutting it down. What we saw, especially during their previous match from Astralis, when they actually decimated, it was, I think at the time, FaZe on Inferno. The best part of their gameplay was their timing and their teamwork, and we're really seeing that now on the CT side of Cache. Yeah, look,
last time he obviously got the ace, the 5 kill, he went on to drop about 26, 27 frags on that map. So if this is an indicator of the sort of form that he's in, then this doesn't bode well for Tempo Storm in the hopes of going straight through to the semi-finals.
Henny actually catching a grenade there with his teeth, so he's down to 61 points of health now. He has the AWP, his favoured weapon of choice, and taking it towards B main, but the utility at the moment blocking off his vision, so he's just biding his time, waiting for the CTs to try and expose themselves, but Dupree there, having saved his own smoke grenade, just creates another problem there for Henny to be concerned about. So all of a sudden, with Henny so intent on finding this opening frag for his team, you can see that if he doesn't get it potentially, they're going to be left in a situation where they've got no time left, and they need to almost invent some sort of magic.
Yeah, but look at this, the aggression from Tempo Storm. They're grouping up momentarily to just try and get themselves out mid, but Device is ready to go. And that Molotov will dissipate shortly, and he's in a great position to pick up a multitude of frags. Not able to do so. Bolt's well aware of that positioning, but Cajun B and Carrigan are having their say on the round. And, well, that triple from Cajun B just shutting things down. That B site impenetrable at the moment.
What do you even say about that? I think the 5 frags went down there from an Astralis point of view in the span of about 10 seconds or something. Really fast. I love the trade fragging though. Another example there of that, I guess, teamwork and chemistry that we're talking about. Something I think is really elevated and exacerbated in the LAN environment there. When you can sit next to your teammates, you can see their screens. As Device went down in mid, it was Carrigan and Cajun that suffocated and capitalised on that opening in the round.
That's right, and Tempo Storm just setting themselves up outside B. The smokes are just preventing them from getting anywhere just yet, but Dupree and I believe Cajun are just primed and ready to go. Those Molotovs just stemming their flow, and here they go. They're going to try and get themselves into this B bomb site. Dupree is smoked out momentarily. He does actually fall in the smoke. Cajun, though, is trying to defend this site at the moment. That Tech 9 of Showtime just ringing his ears there. Bolts also getting a frag as well, and this bomb site is compromised. Carrigan, though, finds himself in a decent position. Does pick up a frag before he's traded out quite quickly. Not aware of Henny's presence, as now Zipnik's does get jumped on by Bolt, so that aerodynamic parkour really getting the jump on him.
Well, if you're going to win a round, it's probably an impressive way to do so, to be honest. I mean, why not do it in style? But a much needed round for Tempo Storm, it goes without saying. Probably more so than the fact that it was 5-0 up to that point. I think for this Brazilian team, what they've showed today is that when they're confident, that's when they're playing the best. And I think a round win there was crucial in this half.
Well, that's right. I mean, if you look at the CT economy, they've actually done a lot of damage to it. So if we do see it, you can just see that Astralis are in a little bit of trouble if they do lose this round. But look at the grouping up here at A. They're going to set execute onto this site. The smokes will go up. The Molotovs will go down. And they are going to hit this bomb site with some gusto as Zipnik sprays into that smoke, not able to get a frag just yet.
Well, doesn't connect there, but his teammates are in the site, so perhaps they might have a better opportunity to do so. Dupree, the man who was previously holding the B-side, has somehow weaseled his way into A, does find a frag. Zipnik's doing a great job up there from the catwalk, finding two, and Carrigan on the flank, the dank flank. This would certainly prove to be the downfall of Tempo Storm, as this is a must-win round to consolidate their economy. But Carrigan will spot out that bomb planted, but not able to connect there. That was a missed opportunity, and Henny not quite able to punish him. I think he's very fortunate to get away with that. Phelps now finds himself in a 1-on-2. This is a man that has such high reps on him as a Brazilian player, but you can see both CTs, I'm not sure if he's aware, are actually coming from behind him at the moment. So it's almost a reversal of roles, so to speak. Phelps there with a good utility grenade to try and work his way towards the NBK spot, but Zipnix is all over that presence there. Fantastic game sense there by the support player, doing a great job showing why, when he's at his best, he's such a valuable addition to this team.
That's right. Carrigan just sitting in CT main. He was in like Finn, as he just bided his time, played that role quite well, and I like that maneuver, just a very smart maneuver to actually get himself back into A main and join his teammate there, Carrigan. They retook from the same place, and it was on the member of Tempo Storm to just make the move there. They had plenty of time. It was always going to be a firefight with 40 seconds on that bomb timer, and CT's breathing down your neck.
Now, we can see actually Tempo Storm buying into this round. Normally after losing or winning and losing one, you'd see teams on eco, but it was by virtue of the fact that when they won the previous round, it was so comprehensive. So it does mean that Henny can afford an AWP in this instance. Lucas, though, will have to sacrifice for the greater good of the team and go with a Tech 9, but we've seen him on fire today with pistol, so it wouldn't surprise me if he could put that to good use. Should he be able to close the distance towards the CTs? At the moment, though, it's the CTs who are seemingly so hungry here, as we see that aggressive B play here from Dupree. He's moving all around the map at the moment.
That's right, but we do see from Tempo Storm that they do have someone boosted up in mid, and you would expect them to try and exert some mid control momentarily, but Henny's going to try and work this B bomb site with a little bit of an AWP pick, of course. That has been his weapon of choice today. He's been so potent with it as well, and Tempo Storm just biding their time. I do believe it's Phelps, quite an aggressive player, actually, sitting up on that mid boost. And he's going to just try his luck. His opponents there will be Device, and I believe Cajun just rotating between Highway, but they are going to take control of mid here, Tempo Storm, and they're going to have their choice of sites.
Yeah, they're really in a well-placed position here, like you say, to switch between A or B. Mid-control on Cage allows for that fast rotation. Carrigan was searching for information. He does push through, spots out Showtime there in A main, and I think actually opting to hold his position and almost try and scare Showtime away. You can see it's almost funneled the terrace towards the B side, and as Device misses his shots, Phelps will connect with his in ZCon. So Device knows that the flank is a real prospect here. He needs to hold strong. He's relying on Dupree to really lock down that site for him, but Dupree has gone down. He now needs to do something himself in a 3-on-4 situation. Carrigan, though, does find one. Lucas and one of his teammates there in the site. They do plant that bomb. It's now down to a 2-on-2 situation. Carrigan on the fast flank. They now have that multiple pronged attack to try and retake this site. Good nade there connecting onto Lucas. So Showtime now, he needs to deliver something Hollywood-esque as he finds himself in a 1-versus-2. The flash really puts him out of position there. Device, great work there. Pushing out onto the catwalk, not expecting it, and punishing the terrorist.
That's right, Device calling curtains on Showtime right there. But Astralis wrestle back control a little bit from Tempo Storm. The positive is, though, they did manage to get the plant in that round.
But how well orchestrated was even that retake from them? That was a 2-on-2 in which the Terrorists actually had the HP advantage. They were well positioned in the site there, one at quad box and one at the bomb box, but the CTs made it look so easy, and that's a key facet of their game. But this is a Tempo Storm that's beaten virtus.pro, that's beaten Envious today, but at the moment they're down 7-1.
For me, that was all on Device. Device was on 7 HP. He was up heaven. He'd been incredibly tagged down in health. He actually was able to turn around and eliminate that flank coming through the Z connector.
Phelps, I believe.
Phelps. So he was the player that was boosted in mid earlier in the round, so he actually lurked mid for quite some time and chose his moment, but Device was ready for it, still hit that shot under pressure, and that's what really allowed Astralis to feel comfortable in that round and orchestrate that retake. So some fantastic play coming out from them. Tempo Storm, though, have called a timeout. and reasonably so. There is a lot on the line in this match.
Oh, that's right. We must reiterate that the winner of this match between Astralis and Tempo Storm, this BO1, will go through in first place. They'll actually secure themselves first place in the group, which means an automatic trip through to the semi-finals. So like we said, this means everything to these guys. I actually like the fact, Jim, that they've called the early tactical pause, something we're often critical of as casters and observers of the game, is that sometimes teams tend to leave it almost until it's too late, if not use it at all. So I like this from them. It's still early days. And for a team that's shown their ability to string together multiple rounds together today when they are feeling it, when they do get their groove on, this still leaves them plenty of opportunities to get back on the winning way.
Well, that's right. It's well, it's only a 6-round deficit at the moment. Yep. From what we've seen, I'm not too sure if you've actually had the opportunity to catch Tempo Storm on Cache, but clearly 6 rounds is the key deficit that they've flagged there. Peacemaker, the coach, yep, making the call to reorchestrate their tactical timeout. I mean, for Tempo Storm, what are they not doing? What pieces are they missing at the moment on their T side?
They just look like they lack a bit of confidence, to be honest. I think that, I mean, I pointed it out during that pistol round, that, or just straight after it, I love the way that Astralis really took it to Team Tempo Storm on the pistol. They pushed 2 through that A door, and I said that that really might be, I guess, a play that would shake the confidence of the terrorist side, because they weren't able to, I guess, execute onto that A bomb site as they would have liked all of a sudden. Whilst they were the underdogs, you've got this experienced team who are showing no fear at all. So I think at the moment they just need to go back to their strengths and rely on their star players, the players who all day, all night have been making incredible plays to put their team in this position. You can see that they are on an eco this round, so potentially the fruits of their labour we might see next round when they do invest. But at the moment, Astralis just making mincemeat of this attack, and with only one member left in the form of Showtime and the bomb down in the A-bomb site, I don't give him much chance.
Yeah, no, he was not in any position to make an impact with a P250 in that round, but they've called the tactical timeout, and, well, this is where they're going to orchestrate what they've been discussing.
So I think for these guys, if they're to, I guess, go back to their strengths that we're talking about, we're just talking about their willingness to take those duels, to have the confidence that they will make that frag, even if they're up against a really well-ordered outfit in the form of Astralis here. I'd like to see perhaps Henny getting in there, Phelps as well. We've said that he's really been a key player for them today, and I think that if those guys can be a little bit more aggressive in their play, perhaps it might bode well for them. You can see Volts here position in the door. Sometimes it's quite common for teams on their default just to go there, at least send one play there to make noise, almost as that distraction in the A site, keeping the CTs guessing, always knowing that it's at least one member there of the terrorist force and they can't get a little bit perhaps lackadaisical or passive in their approach to that round. But for the time being, it looks as though the bulk of the attack, well, there's actually not much of an attack at all, if I actually rephrase that, because the T is very passive.
They are very passive, but they're very cautious too. I mean, look at this aggression coming out from Carrigan. He's actually sitting in a really forward CT position there. So he's under the boost. He has a lot of information as to potentially what's going on. He can hear absolutely everything. So he's definitely got his hearing aid in there.
I don't like this though, because a map like Cache allows the CTs who have a lot of map information and control right now, such as Astralis do. Look at Carrigan as an example. You can rotate so quickly between the different sites, and Astralis' team play has been on point today, so their rotations and their timings have been a masterclass of Counter-Strike. So at the moment, they're going to be able to have their forces in the right position to shut down any sort of attack and make that wall of defense. At the moment, Carrigan doing a perfect illustration of just that. Ooh. Does get a double frag. That boost coming to great effect. Zipning's actually finding 2 for himself and looking to actually get a 3rd, and deservedly so. It does take down Showtime, and again, another attack here. They didn't even make waves at all in that round. They didn't get a frag.
That's right. Obviously, as we said, they had that tactical timeout. They had time to really rethink their position on the T side, but at the moment, it seems as though Astralis seem to have all the answers.
Well, I didn't actually see a difference at all between pre-tactical pause Tempo Storm and post-tactical pause Tempo Storm. It was the same play style.
The same tempo.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, in any case, you could be right. I mean, I agree technically with you, but we'll see how it goes.
Morally, no.
They are on an eco at the moment, though, and whilst we, I guess, applaud them for taking the early tactical pause, at the moment, those things starting to get out of hand now, it's fair to say. At 9-1 down, they are on an eco, and you can see a few players who could afford it. Perhaps some of their star players from today have actually been able to invest in those pistols, the stronger weaponry of sort, to try and give themselves a fighting chance. But at the moment, as the utility that connects from Device, the holy hand grenade takes down Lucas. I think Henny and Showtime follow suit shortly thereafter. Phelps now the last man alive, and whilst he somehow gets one frag for himself to breathe, they're caught midair. He'll go down at the hands of Device, and Astralis looking really strong here. This is, I guess, an illustration of how well they're playing. Tempo Storm have been wrecking teams all day today up until this point. Even the match they lost against FaZe was in overtime, and at the moment, you wouldn't know that looking at their play.
Well, this is interesting. I mean, the match against FaZe, they really started to grind some rounds out. They were down in that match in an early deficit, and they managed to get themselves back up. Obviously, this is a different beast. This is Astralis. This is a team that really can suffocate their opponents in what we'd really term as a mix between a lot of strategy and individual skill. These guys at the moment are just simply getting the better of Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm needs to find an answer into this, otherwise they're going to be on the end of a really big deficit. Look at this aggression into the A main. And he actually is able to find a frag, and now finds a second frag as well. So the aggression from Astralis has been neutralized here, but they still have 2 members on this A site. So I'm not too sure whether Tempo Storm are aware of this, but they're not making any moves just yet.
Well, that was the confidence, I think, of Astralis there with 4 members on the A site. The rotation was so fast, they couldn't make it work in that instance, but Device there does get that frag onto Bolts. The no-scope there at close range, that was almost guaranteed to hit. You can see, though, Tempo Storm, I'm really surprised off the back of it in those 2 frags, the fact that they didn't do anything with it. That was the only into the round, and now they find themselves in a position where, yes, they still have the man advantage, but the CTs, there's still no pressure on these players. They still got utility grenades, Molotov flashes to support them, and it's almost as though once they find out the positioning, which they now know, they'll be ready for the attack.
But they've read this all wrong. Look at Astralis. They're actually rotating towards that B bomb site. They're going to walk into a free bomb site here, Tempo Storm, and get the plant. Now the information's come out. Device actually gets taken down at the truck, and already the CTs have been completely locked out of this bomb site. Cajun B is in a good position here to potentially get a frag, but he's going to rely on Dupree to try and find a frag with that AWP.
You can see in this 2-on-4, we know that Astralis are going to go for this, given the fact they have so much money in the bank at the moment. It would be silly not to. So they're just trying to find perhaps an opening to it, using and relying on Dupree there at the truck with perhaps his better positioning. But as he goes down, Cajun B's chances of success diminish drastically, whilst he does get 1 frag here. The time's now ticking, so the terrorists actually, I think, evacuating the site, perhaps even trying to get their flank on to take down Cajun B before the time runs out, but I think that's probably not important. I think with Cajun having so much money, it's more important for Tempo Storm to save their guns, more so than him.
Exactly right. Their own economy isn't the greatest at the moment, but Cajun will be able to take that AWP into the next round. So Device, I would assume, would at least have a weapon in the next round, as we can see there. Their money is good enough to buy still in this round, so we will see another buy coming out as a result of that AWP being saved. So Device, as expected, does take that AWP. Tempo Storm retain their weaponry as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but outside of the pistol round, I think that was the most aggressive play we've actually seen coming in from Astralis there with the double push into A main. I don't think, even though they've been quite aggressive and whatnot in mid and B main, they haven't pushed outright. So you can see Astralis there perhaps recognising the fact that they're up by so much, trying to perhaps put this match away, but it didn't work out for them. We do see, though, Henny finding that opening frag and through the wall nonetheless. So the in-game leader, the young talent, doing a great job there for his team, trying to help them claw their way back in, and Carradine actually gets tagged through the wall with the spams. So walls are the talk of the town at the moment, at least in this round. Tempo Storm in a strong position. Straight
to the dome, through the wall in that blue door, and he still has that AWP, so he's still present there, and he's making himself very much known to Astralis. As you can see, Carrigan's the only one defending this A bomb site, but that bomb is just sitting in limbo. They haven't really committed to anything just yet, but they haven't got any presence at B at all, and Dupree has recognised this and is pushing right through.
Yeah, he's got so much information in and of itself by virtue of the fact he hasn't spotted anyone, so he'll now be able to post up in the sunroom and allow his teammates to rotate towards mid and A, and already Cajun B, I think. Off the back of that information that Dupree has capitalised and found that first frag. So now the score is even in the sense that it's 4 men apiece. We do see Tempo Storm here making their way onto the A bomb site. Carradine here posted up in the quad box, relying on his teammates to cover his side. He does connect on the first, and Zipnix and Cajun all of a sudden collapse on Tempo Storm, and 4 members going down in a flash, perhaps as fast as Tempo Storm's hopes of winning this match.
Well, they are being shot down at the moment, and Carrigan, look at him. He's stepping up and really recapturing some of his early days in his form. So we're talking it wasn't really his early days in 1.6 at all, but late in his career, he was certainly known as a player that could put in a shift in terms of that score. But Tempo Storm again have been able to buy into this round as a result of having such a decent loss bonus.
I think they're probably going to buy nonetheless anyway. I mean, 11-2 down, it's probably the time has come and gone to Eco, I think. So they do have to go with just 2 pistols, but 3 rifles to support them. It will be Phelps making his way into Dupree, actually goes down, but Cajun there really capitalising there off the attention that Dupree was able to draw there. Having 2 easy frags there onto the side of 2 Tempo Storm members. And again, it's just a situation where Astralis, when they're fragging, it's multi-frags and it's coming thick and fast. They're now in a great position here, 3-on-3, but you have to almost bank on them in these sort of late round situations because the talent of these players, the skill ceiling is so high.
That's right. And Their trading is, as you said, just something else at the moment. They're really just stepping up to the mark, and we can see that bomb just making its way towards B. In fact, the 3 remaining members of Tempo Storm are going to make their way onto this B bomb site. They're only Cajun, the person tasked with making that hold, as that Molotov will segregate them a little bit. He does get that first frag, but he's not aware of Lucas's presence. He does take him down anyway. It doesn't matter.
That flash grenade was insane.
I know, it was absolutely well orchestrated, but Henny's the last one alive here. 91 HP, he does have the glass cannon, and will try and make his way around this bomb site. Of course, walking scoped to just try and mask his potential noise here, as if he can catch Cajun B out the side, and he does manage to get the frag onto him. He will be able to get this plant here, you would assume, and does fake it there to try and draw out Zipnix. He knows where he is, misses the shot though, and Zipnix is not going to step out until that bomb is planted. That Molotov though, not hitting the desired target. In fact, that would have been perfect for flushing him out. But
if at first you don't succeed, try again as he lobs the second one in there.
Well, that's right, and he's only got 85 HP. Henny walking around that bomb box. This is a tense 1v1. Zipnix to further extend this lead and this pain that they are putting on Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm though, oh, Henny unable to get the frag there. Unfortunately, at the moment is looking fairly grim for the Brazilians, but we've seen them grind out matches before. Their first encounter was a tough grind for them.
It's right. I think this is a different kettle of fish, though. I mean, the match which you're referring to was a great comeback, but it was up against Nefrag, and we've seen how well they performed today, and they're notorious for just throwing away leads and some horrible money management. But at the moment, Astralis, they're showing how well they are playing. They've had a fantastic day today. They've really set the world alight in this group as they look to go 5-0 and secure that trip to the semi-finals. If a win here would do that, and with this last round of the half now, they have the potential to go 13-2 up. You can see here, Tempo Storm preparing for an A execute.
That's right, and Zipnix is ready to go. He sees those smokes coming across, and he knows that this A hit is telegraphed. He has supporting casting members here, though. All 4 members are at this A bomb site, so this is going to be a tough ask for Tempo Storm to be able to get in. They have to navigate those Molotovs first, though. Carrigan in a very aggressive position, finds that first frag. Zipnix finds a flag of his own, and they're just being shot down through the smoke here. They're not even being able to get into this bomb site just yet. Tempo Storm. Phelps is able to find a frag with that Tech 9, but look at the HPs. They've been absolutely obliterated here as they try and get into this site. This is not the half that Tempo Storm wanted at all. As we said, they're playing for a berth straight into the semi-finals on day 3 of the competition, but they're going to do it tough here in the second half. They have the CT now on Cage, and they need to get the pistol if they're going to try and, as we said, secure that semi-final berth.
I think one of the question marks about Astralis in the past, they're a team that notoriously have played really, really well in competitions up
See what you did there.
until potentially the semi-final or grand final stage where they bombed out a little bit and that they're trying to rectify. But one of the issues that have been identified is the fact that sometimes Dupree and Cajun and some of the supporting cast don't have that consistency. When they do have the confidence, though, is when they're at their best. And at the moment, you can see Dupree in particular. I mean, he's pushing choke points aggressively. He's winning those duels because he's backing himself. And that's why they're playing so well at the moment, because the players believe that they can win against this Brazilian team. And they're showing that right now. Cajun finds the first kill. Unable, though, to convert onto the second. So Lucius doing a good job of getting the trade kills as the bomb looks to make its way towards A off the back of the fact that I think Zipnix has actually swindled his way into that side. And he's communicating that to his teammate at the moment as Bolts tries to get some revenge onto his head, but to no avail as that bomb does get planted. Zipnix are actually covering Carradine, just making sure that that C4 device has now been planted, and the retake must come in. Tempo Storm here in a 4-on-3, still favoured to win this.
But look at Lucas, his flank here. He does catch Device by surprise there in the A main, but Bolts and Phelps are going to make their way into this A bomb site. Carrigan, though, and Zipnix are going to have to try and make this work here as they're being slowly pincered by the CTs. Carrigan finds that first burst as Henny actually gets a knife frag in there somehow. Carrigan, though, needs to go 1 versus 2, not able to do so. Bolts gets that frag, and wow, Henny just making that dank bank with the shank.
I've got no idea how he knifed him, to be honest.
I have no idea as well.
I think, to be honest, what happened was that the smoke had been laid down, and I think with the footstep noises, both players recognised that they were at close quarters, and perhaps with no ammo left in the chamber, he resorted to his machete and did take him down at close range, but great work there, in the end, winning the pistol.
That round had everything. It had some dank bank, some shank, and a flank.
I need to check my rhyming dictionary, but I don't think there's many other words that we could go with that are CS related at that point to extend upon that point, though. You can see Astralis. I mean, they're desperate to finish this off in the sense that Debris actually has an AK and full armor in effect at the moment. So I think recognizing that as the entry frager, he's actually in hot form, not just in this match, but all tournament long, and does find the opening there in brutal fashion, taking down Showtime in quite dramatic style as he does connect onto his head. Lucas under so much pressure, does convert though onto Dupree and Device. In that instance, Phelps also contributing. So as the members of Astralis do go down, that nice entry kill of Dupree doesn't prove to be much use, other than the fact that it provided some nice picturesque scenes for us.
And some soundboard moments.
I think Showtime recognising the fact that it was a nice shot there, congratulating his opponent there on what was a sick
It was a nice shot though, let's be honest. But Tempo Storm just grinding their way back into this. As we said, it's a long way to go though.
I like the gamble in the sense that only Dupree was the player that invested. You didn't see that given the fact that the other players have injured, they can afford to buy into this round. So it was almost like they took a small gamble there without committing themselves entirely. So as we move now onto the third round this half, you can see that Tempo still will have a job on their hands as they now have a well-equipped Astralis to contend with. And again, the flashes and teamwork, a key facet of Astralis' play today in full effect as they do blind the member and checkers. And Showtime, I'm not sure he's aware that Cajun is so close, but does manage to catch him off guard as Cajun, I think, ready to step around and check a different angle, not expecting Showtime himself to be there. And as a result, he loses his life in that instance. Showtime backing off towards the lower B area just to, I guess, consolidate that opening fray in the round. Tempo Storm up 5 men to 4.
That's right, he wasn't aware of that presence at all, Cajun. Just really getting some basic elements of crosshair positioning and movement wrong, but maybe bot Cajun appeared for a moment. Nonetheless, look at this control.
A harsh call. He's had an incredible tournament.
Look at this mid control coming out from Astralis. So they've actually made their way out mid, completely unbeknownst to Tempo Storm. So this could really be the kink in our armor as do actually start to exert a little bit of pressure here on the mid. Zipnix does go down, so good work from Phelps and being able to secure that frag as they put pressure on this B bomb. So they really don't have any options here as Carrigan's able to pick up Showtime, but he's traded out quite quickly. Lucas holding strong with Phelps on this B bomb site, and Astralis are finding no way in at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunate for Zipnix in that round in which he was the sole member tasked with going mid, but unfortunately his shadow betrayed his presence as he went to step around that corner, and Phelps caught sides of the black marks on that round and took him down with relative ease in that instance. And from there on out, it was all too easy for Tempo Storm as they had complete control of that B bomb site. Only one choke point to watch at that point. And Astralis, whilst they do have a comfortable lead, they need to be careful here that they are playing this smart, because we've seen a couple of, I guess, half buys, and they now find themselves in a situation where they're on eco and only 13-5 up. Obviously, no need to worry just yet, but we actually saw earlier on tonight as Cajun B connects onto the head of Bolts. They actually showed a little bit more patience in their Terraside play in their match against FaZe when they had such a dominant first half, actually opting to eco and whatnot, waiting until they had full utility this time, showing a little bit more impetus as they tried to force the issue, and it hasn't worked out for them. Device the last member alive here, but not for much longer. But having said that, the jumping block at close range does take down Henny in style. We've seen some nice frags today, so
that was
Astralis
cheeky.
now. That was a cheeky jumping frag. Astralis buy into this round, looking to turn their fortunes around.
That's right, admin, he's doing it sideways. But 13-6, as we said, a gun round coming out from Astralis, and this is where Tempo needs to be on high alert. Showtime, though, and Henny have both picked up the AWP. So this is that double AWP setup, a heavy investment coming out from Tempo Storm, and they need to make this work early on. As we do see on the overlay here, Astralis moving quickly towards the A side.
Well, there's no one in the A side to defend it apart from Henny, who is actually positioned back in truck at the moment. So it's a very, very defensive way to approach this round. Now, for a team that had 2 AWPs, I was actually expecting some more aggression. I was liking perhaps that buy and investment into the round, but it's proved to be quite the opposite as they're very far back at the moment. As those smokes get laid down, it will block off the vision of Henny, and somehow he doesn't connect there, but Dupree finds Carrigan. So perhaps with Henny missing, Dupree recognising that Henny was a bit unfortunate, does the job for him in that instance, but Dupree now sets his sights on a counter-terrorist member, takes down Henny, still has 3 more to deal with though, and gets overwhelmed in the end by Phelps. That team kill not helping the chances of Astralis. 13-7 now. Again, I'm just looking, it looks as though that second AWP, was it recovered there? I think it might be. I think Henny just looking to pick it up off the ground. No. Actually, it was lost in the end, so Showtime will pass his off to Henny. There's now just 1 AWP on the CT side.
That's right, but it's still an AWP retained, so more importantly, Tech 9, light armor buy coming out from Astralis here, as they really don't try and force the issue just yet. Objective here would be to get a plant, but a glimmer of hope for Tempo Storm. as they need to try and fight their way back into this match. There is a lot on the line here for these guys. A berth straight through to the semi-finals here at IEM Katowice. As Showtime just takes 1, 2. Not able to take the third though. Lucas is able to support him and trade him out quite quickly there as Phelps and Bolts cap out that round. 13-8 the score. That deficit is narrowing.
The difficulty with perhaps running that double AWP setup on the CT side of Cage is that it can be so expensive to sustain. You can see even though the Tempo sort of winning rounds, they've had a little bit of difficulty getting both of those AWPs into the hands of their two players. In this instance though, Showtime has invested accordingly, so Astralis perhaps recognising that could be a threat to Vice actually picking up that AWP himself. And curious to see what sort of approach Astralis brings to this round. They're renowned for having that good mix of aggression and passive structured play into their side. And at the moment, it will be Dupree actually taking that aim to, and they've caught Lucas off guard with the no smoke laid down in team main. Actually, Dupree had clear line of sight onto Lucas and punished him just below the vent, and we'll back off with only 1 point of health. I think licking his wounds at the moment, but that's all important for Astralis now. They have the opportunity to exploit those rotations from Tempo Storm and capitalise.
That's right, and Henny's actually able to find a reply with that AWP. So Showtime just aware of a presence there in the sunroom out towards B, and we'll try and force the issue here, essentially trying to get that frag, but Dupree, a strong breeze at the moment might be a fatal risk to him, as they do exact some control of a mid here, Astralis, and look to try and get out towards that vent. They do have a presence there in Sunroom, so they do have that fallback option of trying to go back towards B, but this scope of Henny is trained on mid. They're aware of the presence.
That's right, and at the moment, whilst he's almost caught between a rock and a hard place as he tries to watch multiple choke points, you can see as he does switch his eyes back to Highway, Device does punish him, so great frag there, but as they make their way towards B, they're not to know that A is actually not defended at the moment, so walking into the lion's den, potentially here, Phelps positioning himself there in the pit, has the smoke to his advantage, covering off checkers, and doesn't quite find the frag, but does a lot of damage, but as Cajun and Carrington move into the site, they will find those kills. Bolt actually taking 1 bullet there, I think, as Carrington managing to tap into the smoke, but Cajun gets the job done. I actually thought that was a really dangerous situation there, because with 3 CTs actually positioned on that site, that could have gone the other way ever so easily, but the key frags coming in there from Cajun and Carrington when required. Great work there from the experienced Danish team.
That's right, that late mid control, as we said, Device able to get a pick into that A bomb site, and really what it did was force Tempo to try and take a gamble. They had to gamble, and they picked the site right, but of course not able to defend it there. Carrigan and Cajun just too clinical in that instance. But look at this aggression here from Showtime in towards the B main. They've actually taken 3 members and put them in that site, but Henny's actually able to, the ones to find the frag, as he does take that man down on the boost there. Device does go down, so some mid control going the way of Henny at the moment, but this aggression coming out from Astralis onto the A side.
That's right, 3 members, they're streaming out A main, and Henny greets them with open arms as he does take down what is his second for the round. Dupree has fallen. Cajun does get some retaliation, but they're still up against it in a 3-on-4 situation. I like this positioning from Bolts. Really smart play. They're catching Cajun be off guard from the forklift, not expecting that CT rotation to have come in so quickly. As it is, you can see Carrigan almost trying to force the issue now, recognising that perhaps some aggression is called for, otherwise they will get picked off one at a time, and that's how it goes down ultimately. Tempo Storm here, they're not giving it up, are they? 14-9. You can see, like you said, they've been grinding out all day today. They have that fighter's mentality, and this is great to see.
This is fantastic to see. From such a young team, from a team that, as they said, self-admittedly don't have the experience, they're showing experience well beyond their years. And this is doable for them. And let me just say, I'm starting to believe.
I think certainly a few people out there, certainly the entire Brazilian scene, no doubt, to believe in. They have been since the score was about 0-all. But at the moment, you can see Astralis forced onto another eco round. So potentially Tempo Storm, should they play their cards right this round and close it out, they are trying to keep the distance to really consolidate that fact at the moment. They could be looking at a double-digit scoreline here in Astralis. Perhaps starting to doubt themselves now. You can see them playing with a little bit more, I guess, passive play and a little bit more cautious, I think, is the best description. Recognising the fact that this Brazilian team is certainly a team to look out for, because when they're firing, they look so confident. They're winning all these duels seemingly with ease at the moment. Bolts there finding that final frag onto Dupree. And now, Jim, it's Astralis who are causing the tactical pause.
Well, surely that bodes well for Tempo Storm. As a confidence boost, they know that a team as big as Astralis and as successful as Astralis are starting to feel the pressure a little bit. That gap, that deficit has narrowed from, what was it, 13-2?
12-3, I believe, with the half, but in any case, a massive deficit.
I haven't seen the scoreboard in a while. But massive deficit. They've whittled it away. They've got the CT side on Cage, slightly advantageous. Their money situation is great. And as we said, they've started to really make Astralis think.
What I love, though, from their perspective, if we look at the kill disparity at the moment, there's almost none on the CT side. Tempo Storm, every member contributing. That's something we often point to in terms of the productivity of all the players. Whereas on an Astralis perspective, Carrigan leading the way, doing a monster job actually as the in-game leader, and Power Frader has 24 kills. But Device, he's gone missing in this match. He's only got 9 kills. This is the player that was ranked number 3 in terms of best players in 2015. And whilst he's had a fantastic tournament to date, he hasn't quite found his groove in this particular match. Part of his maturation as a player, particularly last year, we saw that he was able to improve his consistency in pressure sort of games. This is exactly what this sort of game is. The winner, like you said, goes straight through to the semi-finals. The loser faces the prospect, the unenviable prospect of facing up against either Fnatic or Na'Vi in the quarterfinals. But now, he's struggling to get frags.
That's right, and I mean, if Tempo Storm were the winners here, and they force Astralis into that duel with either Fnatic or Na'Vi, traditionally, they have not matched up against those teams too well at all. So their tournament prospects are very much compromised.
Well, that's right. They've been actually the kryptonite, I think it's fair to say, against this Astralis ex-TSM lineup for many, many, many months now. We know that Astralis themselves are actually trying to bounce back now and find that resurgence in form. They've been struggling of late, but they've looked so good in this entire competition for up until this point, I'd say. So this is now their 5th match. Let's say 9 of the 10 halves so far. They've looked incredible. Their team play has been on point. Their chemistry has been there. All 5 players contributing. But now, in what is the final half of the day, not quite connecting with their shots. It's actually reminiscent for me of Luminosity yesterday. They played the same way for 9 of the 10 halves up until that final half against NRP where they went missing. They were ever so strong. Not sure what it is, but the Danish team suffering the same fate at the moment.
That's right, and this is a key round coming out. A round that was post-tactical pause. Tempo Storm have the opportunity themselves. In fact, they're the ones that have delayed this this unpause coming through. Potentially making some tactical adjustments of their own. I don't know whether or not. We've seen some teams before do it, that they've actually gone aggressive and changed up their very own passive play on CT side. They've essentially countered the counter that the other team have come with.
That's a classic German move. God B, I think, was one that is really a huge proponent of that on the CT side after a tactical pause that the terrorists have called. Going very aggressive and trying to disrupt any tactic that the terrorists have just come up with during that extended break. You can see from a Tempo Storm perspective, though, they've got their own strategy in mind, actually opting to play quite conservatively towards that A-bomb side with only, I think, Henny there locking it down from Truck. He did have success earlier on. Doing such a thing, but at the moment I think relying on some of the individual aimers and the strength of those players. Phelps here in mid at Sandbags to try and get the job done. From a terrorist perspective though, you can see it's still quite a split approach here. Dupree is making noise here in the sunroom and contemplating breaking the glass, but doesn't want to leave a mess there in the B side. Opts not to in the end. The bomb though still left back at team main, so still no early intent here from Astralis to commit to a site.
That's right, and Device with that scope in mid, just trying to open something up, but a very passive play coming out from Tempo Storm. Funnily enough, doesn't seem to me as though much has changed here from Astralis early on, but as you can see, that bomb's made its way back towards the B bomb site, potentially looking at some sort of A fake here to a late B.
That's exactly right. With 2 players still positioned towards A, you can see the B players here are trying to limit the amount of sound they're making. They're getting as close as they can towards that B site without letting their presence be known. So they're certainly waiting for their teammates to cause as much distraction as possible. Zitnik's, having done so, is actually falling back to B, but one member's actually committed to the A side at the moment. And whilst he's in the side here, I love the fact that Tempo Storm haven't balked. They're keeping their players in B. Showtime finds a frag here, and Lucas, look at the patience here. This is fantastic from the Brazilians. The experience beyond their years, they haven't bought it that fake. And all of a sudden, Device finds himself surrounded by 5 CTs. He grabs one. Phelps puts him down. Tempo Storm win another round here. 11-14. The comeback is starting to, I guess, eventuate in front of our eyes here. They're starting to believe. And I love the fact, the composure from those 5 players as they didn't bite on that fake and they shut down that B attack.
That's right, Showtime just patiently sitting in that checker room, biding his time, able to pick up 2 crucial frags, stopping the momentum of Astralis in towards that B site. That A fake was perfectly orchestrated, but Tempo Storm held strong. And here, Astralis just trying to get into this A bomb site. They've been met with a wall of smoke, and now they're just going to be met with a wall of bullets as Bolts and Phelps combine to just make it impenetrable at the moment. Cajun finds a way in, but of course, Bolts just rounding that out quite clinically as they minimise their losses in this A bomb site, but now Astralis, a key round coming out.
Bolt's doing a fantastic job there getting those 3 kills. Obviously, the ex-Luminosity player, a really well-rounded player, actually, was removed from Luminosity for reasons other than his ability to frag, and I think he's showing just that at the moment in terms of his ability to click heads and move the crosshair appropriately onto the enemy players. At the moment, though, this is a really crucial round. You can see Astralis still up 14-12, but certainly all the momentum with the Brazilians at the moment, and certainly every fan from Brazil will be cheering for them. You can see already Cajun and Carradine have taken a lot of damage. I think Carradine... perhaps a Molotov there, and Cajun, I think, copying a HE grenade as he was boosted up. So, whilst a few members do move into the side, Bolts will quickly get wind of that, but Device with an ever-crucial frag. We said he hadn't produced much so far this match, particularly this half, but just when the time required, he does connect there onto the CT team. So, Tempo Storm find themselves in a situation where they've done so much damage, but yet haven't found a frag. It's a 3-on-5 situation. Will they go for the retake?
Well, surely they will try and press the issue. Their money is not going to be a factor in these remaining rounds, so why sit back and idly let this one go by? But they are just waiting, biding their time. They're just looking for that opening. Bolts just pressuring this site here. All the members in there. As Lucas actually burns one alive, Device goes down quite quickly. Those Molotovs and smokes are going up, and as you can see, really forcing a reaction from Astralis here. They have to push through the smokes. Dupree finds a frag, finds a second as well. Carrigan with the third, and they bring up match point. Astralis. I just feel as though Tempo Storm, though, if they win this round, will essentially force this one into overtime.
Well, they could break the bank, is what you're suggesting of the Astralis team at the moment, because whilst they have won that round, they've actually invested everything they have into this round from a terrorist perspective, and with not many rounds left to play with, it could take some time for them to build up that economy, and time could run out for them, but Tempo Storm didn't do much wrong that round. They actually did a lot of damage, but couldn't quite convert with the frags, and again, opting to go with that double AWP setup, which we've seen them use to great effect so far in the CT half. Astralis seemingly running towards A with great passion there and great intent as they've already lining up those smokes and Molotovs, perhaps saving them for later in the round. As we do see 2 members still holding back very deep in mid and team main. They have thrown those crisp smokes out mid and trying to assert their presence on mid, whilst maybe the teammates make their way towards A. Henny here trying to lock it down. He has a great responsibility on his shoulders. He does connect there onto Dupree, looking for a second here. He needs to. He doesn't have any support at the moment from his team, and as he goes down at the hands of Device, his counterpart with the AWP, that bomb will now get planted. It is a 3-on-3 situation. Device doing a great job. Whilst he's taking so much damage, he is finding these frags at the moment. Tempo Storm, they're now faced with the prospect of going 3 versus 3. They must win this retake to keep their hopes alive of getting through to the semi-finals. Phelps here biding his time next to the ladder, just waiting for the flank here. The dope scope of Showtime moving his way through the door. I'm not sure if the teams will be expecting this, and you can see Lucas and also Phelps just trying to make some noise, draw the attention away from the flanking Showtime, but Cajun tries to bring that flank, or that fight I should say. Showtime though catches him off guard, but Zipnik's doing his best job of locking down the site. Can't quite convert though, does get a set, but not a third all of a sudden. Device, we said he needs to step up. He's in a 1 versus 1. You can see Phelps pushing the time. Device misses that shot, but there's not enough time on the clock. Device gets that third frag for the round, winning the 1 versus 1. And Astralis, after a very close fought affair, wow, I'm breathless there. 16-12, victorious.
Wow, what a finish to that match. As we said, a lot of pressure coming in on Astralis. Late in that round, Tempo Storm were able to grind that one out so emphatically. And as I said, I started to believe that that was doable for them. Unfortunately, Astralis regained momentum and were able to bring it back.
I think we're both out of breath at the moment. I think that's just a reflection on the, I guess, how close fought that match was. At the end of the day, you might look back on the match and go 16-12. Well, yeah, I guess they put up a fight, but I think in reality, that was a lot closer than it suggested. Like you suggested, had Astralis lost that round, they're in a situation which they wouldn't have much economy for the final 2 rounds of that match. So that was potentially the deciding round in terms of what would the outcome be. So great match there. Ultimately, Astralis, their experience, able to shine through. They did close it out. Device, whilst we questioned his productivity during that match, 3 kills in the end, doing a great job of closing it out.
That's right. I mean, form is temporary, class is permanent, and you feel as though Device stepping up at the right moment for his team there. And as we said, proving that he is definitely a class player. So, obviously, it wasn't to be for Tempo Storm. They are faced with that prospect of now playing out against... I believe Na'Vi.
Na'Vi, yeah. I think that Tempo Storm should finish in 2nd place here. So with the cross bracket, it should be Na'Vi in the quarterfinal. But obviously, HLTV.org or the Score Esports, you should be able to confirm that.
Well, that's right. I mean, if you do have the Score Esports app, you'll be able to keep tabs on all the games simultaneously, whether or not you're actually watching the stream. So make sure you actually download that app. Of course, the links are below for that one. Make sure you're on top of it. It is a fantastic app. And if you're an avid esports fan like we are, all the scores in one place, so definitely make sure that you're keeping tabs. Tell you what though, plenty of plays that were made in that that particular match. And well, there's a way actually that you can catch
Really?
up with those. Yeah, plays.tv. You can create your own memories, create your own mini highlight clips, and of course share them with your friends. So that's a fantastic way of doing that. So make sure you actually download the Chrome extension for that, and of course you can share that with the world. Now, whew, that was an emphatic finish to the day. No, I'm puffed. We're absolutely puffed.
It's been a fantastic, not just match of Counter-Strike, but also 2 days. I think it's really important here that we give a shout out to all the 12 teams that have participated in the 2 group stages over the, obviously yesterday and today. It's been a really close-knit affair. I mean, again, I said it earlier on the day, but props must go to the organisers for, I guess, integrating this format, this round-robin stage into their competition. It's been something that's drawn so much attention and so much hype around it, because you can see at the end, you're still calculating the results and ladders, trying to work out who versus who, and there's so many storylines that have come out of it. And I think not just the fact that it's given teams opportunities to play more Counter-Strike, it's also seeing a lot closer affairs with the BO1s and whatnot. So I've actually found it fantastic from a spectator's point of view. I think it's been the most exciting group stage that I can actually remember in a long time.
Exactly right. It's always come down to the last match of the day, or the last couple of matches of the day. They've always been so crucial in the outcome of the entire bracket. So, I mean, that's just a testament to the format. But as we see, Group B finishes Astralis 5-0. They actually are the only team out of the 2 groups to go through cleanly. And Tempo Storm, as we saw, they're falling at the final hurdle. virtus.pro, though, sneak through.
That's right. And important to note with that Tempo Storm virtus.pro, it was Tempo Storm that won that head-to-head. So they will definitely secure 2nd place, as it currently reads there on the leaderboard. So they'll match up against Na'Vi in the quarterfinal. virtus.pro will go up against Fnatic. And then pending results, obviously Luminosity and Astralis will be waiting for them with open arms in the semi-finals. But they'll have the opportunity actually tomorrow on the main stage to sit back, watch those quarterfinals unfold, perhaps get some late intel on their potential opposition and play accordingly.
That's right. I mean, that will, of course, be played out in the Spodek Arena. A fantastic, a lot of stage matches coming through tomorrow. That will all be covered on the mainstream. So you will not miss a single moment of the action, of course, with the crew there in Katowice. It's been an absolute blast. I mean, we've been obviously not able to get ourselves to Katowice, but it's been absolutely, I guess, momentous for us.
Well, it's been an incredible opportunity to bring this Counter-Strike to you guys. We're really appreciative of all the support from, obviously, IEM, ESL Australia for allowing us to help bring you guys this coverage of, I guess, the other stream of matches which have been going on. Obviously, a massive shout-out to all the work that, I guess, the team have done over in Katowice. Obviously, the mainstream, Stream A, obviously all the top-tier talent have been so supportive, and we really appreciate and recognise the great job that those guys are doing, and I can't wait to sit back as a spectator for the next 2 days and watch on. I'm sure that it will be fantastic Counter-Strike action, much like the last 2 days have been. But if we take a look at the bracket now, I think we'll actually be able to see how the next couple of days will play out. Obviously, tomorrow, day 3, will be the 2 quarterfinals between Na'Vi and Tempo Storm, and also virtus.pro and Fnatic, followed by the 2 semi-finals with Luminosity and also Astralis waiting in the wings. And then day 4 will just be the grand final. So a lot of hype, a lot of spectacle, and I'm sure that the Polish crowd there in the 8,000 square meter arena, which has been, or expo, which has been designated for esports, will be waiting with anticipation.
What a matchup that could potentially be, though. Look at that top of the bracket. If Na'Vi do fall to Tempo Storm,
The Brazilians up against each other.
And they're going to, well, they would be loving that match.
Let me assure you, I guarantee you that Luminosity are hoping that Tempo Storm get through, because Na'Vi have been one of their nemesis teams of late. Both Fnatic and Na'Vi have really had the edge over Luminosity up until this competition. Obviously, Luminosity had a great group stage yesterday, but that would be an enticing matchup, the 2 Brazilian teams.
It's interesting too, because obviously you've got Luminosity, the Masters, and then you've got Tempo Storm, the young Padawans.
Padawans.
We're going with the Star Wars theme here.
Okay.
But the young Padawans, will the Masters teach their younglings, their Padawans, all the tricks? I don't think so. I think Luminosity will still have a few tricks up their sleeve if that match pans out. I'm certainly licking my lips at the prospect of that. But of course, this wouldn't be the Intel Extreme Masters without, of course, our brilliant sponsors, namely Intel. It is always a pleasure to work with those guys. Zowie, HyperX, of course, Gigabyte and G2A as well, putting up this fantastic prize purse for the teams. $250,000 total, $100,000 to the winner. So certainly plenty of incentive for these teams to play out.
And not just that, it was also, I think, the $1,000 bounty, which they actually put on each match as well, which was that added excitement, that opportunity for everyone in their individual matches, regardless of what their status was in the tournament, to still have something to play for. And I think that's a wonderful incentive to keep that attention and keep that atmosphere within the games. That's great.
Yeah, but of course, we want to hear what you think. We want to hear what the community thinks, and of course, your opportunity to do that is through the appropriate social tags below in the link. So, of course, you can tweet at us at IEM. Join in the conversation there. Of course, there is the YouTube and the Facebook as well.
Yep.
That you can catch up on all the highlights with that YouTube. Some of the clips will be on there. Oh, there has been plenty of clips on there, I'll tell you that. There's been some absolutely top-tier action, and, well, there's going to be YouTube clips for days. I'll be expecting highlights for the next month to come out of this particular competition. So it's been absolutely fantastic. I know personally, as I said, we've enjoyed it from start to finish. We've been casting much through the night here. We're in a completely different time zone, but it's absolutely been enjoyable. Thanks must go to our production crew. You guys have been working tirelessly behind the scenes, and of course, you don't get much camera time. It's been fantastic. Nonetheless, our two co-casters as well, PDG and Jordan, Elfish Guy, absolute machines. They've been up with us. Of course, I've been Jim Inosso. Joining me has been none other than PK Noodle. And that is us signing off for the evening. Guys, stay tuned with us tomorrow. It's been a pleasure. Until then, enjoy yourselves.